I'm Damon, 33, and last New Year's Eve, my dad called me a parasite loud enough for half the family to hear. So I waited until dinner, and dropped a truth bomb so big it permanently rewrote the family group chat dynamics. Let's rewind. You're going to love this one. I was still shaking snow off my coat when my dad looked up from his drink, squinted like he was doing me a favor, and muttered, "Didn't know the parasite was invited." The worst part? A few people chuckled. Some laughed, like we were in on a joke together. A couple looked away awkwardly, like maybe if they didn't make eye contact, they wouldn't have to pick a side. Welcome to my family. I didn't flinch. Didn't respond. Just calmly hung my coat by the door and made my way to the draftiest seat in the room, back corner, near the window, same chair they always stuck me in when they were pretending to be polite. It was New Year's Eve, my sister Cassie's house in Scottsdale. She'd sent the invite personally, said they wanted to reconnect. I should have known better. But I came anyway. The house was magazine perfect. Vaulted ceilings. Marble island. The kind of kitchen you rent for engagement photos. Cassie's husband Paul made big corporate money. They never said how much, but let's just say it wasn't landscaping wages. The whole table was laid out like an award show, wine glasses already half drained, place cards, glittery gold decor, fake toasts and faker smiles. I sat and did what I do best at these things, watched. My cousin Kevin was holding court about his corner office promotion, like it was a Nobel Prize. My Aunt Brenda couldn't stop reminding us her son made law review. Cassie smiled through it all like a hostess paid in compliments. I picked at a roll. Then the worst family tradition reared its ugly head. My Uncle Roger, drunk by then, as per tradition, stood up, clinked his fork on a wine glass, and boomed, "Success check-in time!" I closed my eyes. They still did this. Still? See, success check-in was the family's way of masking a bragfest with fake motivation. One by one, you'd go around the table sharing your wins, promotions, new houses, cars, engagements, kids. All of it designed to let the golden children shine while the rest of us sat there swallowing glass. Cassie tried to skip over me. I saw it. She was going to go from Kevin straight to Brenda's daughter, but Uncle Roger was too drunk to ignore the awkward pause. "What about Damon?" he said, snorting. "Still figuring it out?" I smiled. Tired smile. Controlled smile. Then Paul, trying to be casual, leaned in and asked the question that would change everything. "So what do you do these days, man?" Everyone turned. Forks froze. I saw 3 people visibly perk up like they'd waited years for me to say, "Still looking." Instead, I said calmly, "I run Sentinel Risk Analytics." Paul blinked. "Wait. What?" "I run it," I repeated. He frowned, looked down, processing. "You work there?" "No. I run it. I built it. 7 years ago." And just like that, dead silence. Not metaphorical. Literal. You could hear Kevin's Rolex clicking. Paul whispered, "Holy crap." Cassie's wine glass slipped. Kevin stopped breathing. My mom did that thing where she fake laughed like someone just told her the wrong punchline. And then, all hell started to break loose. My mom tried to laugh it off. You know that brittle little tinkle laugh people use when they feel exposed? She shook her head like I just said I taught yoga to billionaires in space. "Damon doesn't run anything," she said, flipping her napkin. "He does freelance, computer stuff. Isn't that right, honey?" Paul wasn't laughing. Paul looked like he'd just seen a ghost. "No," he said. "He's telling the truth. Sentinel Risk Analytics is huge. We use their software at my company. They flagged a fraud ring in Dallas last year, saved us something like $400 million. He pulled out his phone, started typing. Within seconds he held it up to Cassie. "That's him," he said. "That's your brother." Cassie turned pale. "Wait, that's you?" "Yep," I said. The entire room flipped. Suddenly, everyone who'd ignored me for a decade was playing catch-up. Kevin cleared his throat and tried to dismiss it. "I mean, founding a company and running one are different things, right?" he said. "People get fancy titles all the time." Paul wasn't having it. "No. Damon gave a keynote at the Machine Learning Fraud Summit 2 years ago. He's the guy. And just like that, the family who never asked me anything suddenly wanted to know everything. My dad's face had gone red. He set his fork down so hard the table rattled. So what, you think you're better than everyone now? He snapped. No, I said. Calm. Measured. I think I'm tired of being treated like I don't exist. Unless you need someone to punch down on. Cassie stepped in. Okay, everyone, let's not do this on New Year's Eve. But it was too late. My mom's voice went sharp. You let us think you were struggling. We were worried about you. I turned to her. Really? Worried? When exactly was that? When you called me a parasite 5 minutes after I walked in? Or when you asked if I was still doing that computer thing 6 months after I closed an 8-figure contract? Damon, she warned, her voice trembling. No, I said. I didn't tell you because you never cared to ask. You'd already decided who I was. So I stopped trying. Then Adam, my cousin who actually works in financial compliance, piped up. Wait. Sentinel? We looked into working with you guys. Pricing was steep. Like $500,000 for implementation steep. That accurate? More or less, I said. Depends on the size of the institution. His eyebrows lifted. Then you're pulling what? $10 million a year in revenue? More than that, I said. But hey, who's counting? The silence that followed? Heavy. Like cement poured over 20 years of smug dismissal. You could practically see everyone doing the math. Trying to square the parasite with the guy quietly running a multi-million-dollar firm. And then my mom did what she always does when cornered. She pivoted to guilt. You could have helped us, she said. We've been struggling. Your father's retirement took a hit. We had to refinance the house. And you were just sitting on all that money? I looked at her. I didn't know you were struggling. Because we don't talk. And when we do, you treat me like a burden. Kevin jumped in, furious now. You're actually proud of this? Throwing it in our faces like some kind of... I cut him off. Like some kind of what, Kevin? Someone who made it without your permission. Cassie's eyes were wet. You could have told me. I would have listened. Maybe, I said. But no one in this family ever bothered to ask. And that was the moment. The exact second I realized the truth. It was never about me failing. It was about them needing me to fail so they could feel better about their own choices. I stood up. Happy New Year, I said. Try not to choke on the hypocrisy. I left before the ball dropped. The fallout? That came later. Want to see how deep it went? I got back to my place in Tempe a little after 11. Quiet neighborhood. Good insulation. You could scream into a pillow here and no one would hear it, which, that night, felt like a luxury. My phone was already buzzing when I walked in. I let it sit face down on the counter. Cassie had called twice. Paul left a voicemail. That was intense. You good? Even Adam texted, dude, I had no idea. And then, right at midnight, Mom. You embarrassed your father. That was the whole text. No. Happy New Year. No. We didn't know. Just that. A rebuke. As if I'd crashed their fairy tale ending by daring to have my own truth. I didn't reply. I poured a glass of water and watched fireworks from my window while my phone buzzed itself to death on the counter like a dying wasp. For the next few weeks, the silence was loud. No one reached out again except Cassie. 5 calls. I ignored them all. She left long voicemails. Said she didn't realize it had been that bad. Said she wanted to make it right. But wanting and doing? 2 different currencies. Then came the letter. Certified mail. From a law office in Phoenix. I thought it was a joke at first. But nope. It was real. My parents were selling their house, the same one they'd raised us in, and wanted to offer it to me first. Family discount. As in, we'll take $80,000 off if you save us from foreclosure. I laughed. Like actual laughed. Because of course this was how they'd reach out. Not a phone call. Not an apology. A transaction. Wrapped in legalese. Disguised as generosity. I did what I do best, research. And what I found was, well, let's just say karma showed up with a ledger and a red pen. Turns out Dad had sunk his retirement savings into a crypto scheme run by a guy with a YouTube channel and a "Live Your Legacy" slogan. Lost over $200,000. Then they refinanced the house to cover the shortfall. Bad credit, high interest, ballooning debt. They were 2 months from foreclosure. Max. They weren't offering me the house. They were begging me to bail them out. Me. The parasite. The same kid they hadn't asked about in years. And something in me clicked. No. I wasn't going to let them get foreclosed on. I wasn't going to let them lose the house in shame. But I also wasn't going to let them win. So I made a call. Then another. And by the end of the week, an LLC I owned quietly purchased the property from the bank. $440,000. All cash. Quick close. They never knew it was me. They got a letter from the bank: "Your house has been sold. You have 30 days to vacate." I didn't evict them. I didn't rub it in. I just let them sit in that silence, the one they'd built for years and finally had to live in. And that's when Cassie called again. This time, I picked up. "Want to see how that conversation went?" "You know the drill." "Damon, did you buy Mom and Dad's house?" Cassie's voice was tight, like she already knew the answer and hated herself for asking. I leaned back in my chair. "Why would you think that?" "Because Paul said you've been making real estate investments lately. And the timing's just off." I didn't say anything. Then, gently, "Cassie, do you think I owe them?" She hesitated. "I think they're our parents." "No," I said. "They're people who treated me like garbage until they found out I had money. There's a difference." She exhaled. "They're scared, Damon. They don't know how to ask for help." "No. Scared people ask. Entitled people expect." Another long pause. "Is it true?" she asked. "Did you buy it?" "Yeah," I said. "I bought it." "What are you going to do?" I was quiet for a second. I'm still figuring that out. That wasn't entirely true. I had a plan. I just wasn't ready to say it out loud yet. Because it wasn't about revenge. Not really. It was about something better. So I spent the next 3 weeks building. I called my lawyer. Had him form a nonprofit foundation, the Brennan Opportunity Fund. Its mission? To support underestimated entrepreneurs from non-traditional backgrounds. People like me. I poured in $1 million of my own money. I converted the house, my parents' house, into a startup incubator. 6 offices. Shared kitchen. Conference room. Subsidized rent, $50 a month. Applications open to first-gen college dropouts, self-taught coders, folks who'd been told, "You're not enough." That house, where I'd been called a parasite, would now birth dreams. The irony? Delicious. Adam was the first person I told. We met again at the diner. Same table. Same coffee. I laid out the whole plan. When I finished, he leaned back, grinning. "That's brilliant. And a little savage." I nodded. They'll drive past that house for the rest of their lives, knowing it became something they tried to keep me from. "When are you going to tell them?" I looked at the calendar. "Mom's 60th birthday dinner is in March. Cassie's planning it." Adam raised an eyebrow. "So you're going to drop that at her birthday dinner?" "Thinking about it." He laughed. "Can I be there?" "Not at the dinner. Just afterward. I want to see the mushroom cloud." "You're evil," I said. "No," he said. "I'm your cousin. And for the first time in our lives, I'm actually proud to say it." We clinked coffee cups. And planned the detonation. Want to see the fallout? March came fast. The dinner was set for a Friday night, upscale restaurant in Scottsdale, private room, soft lighting, cloth napkins folded like swans. Cassie had done a beautiful job pretending our family wasn't a cracked mirror. I got there 10 minutes early. I wore a black button-down, slacks, and in my jacket pocket? An envelope. The one that would change everything. Cassie was the first to greet me. She smiled, hugged me, then pulled back like she was trying to read something in my face. "You seem calmer." "I am." "Good," she said. "That's good. The others trickled in. Kevin and his wife. Aunt Brenda. Uncle Roger. Cousin Nicole. Then Adam. He gave me a subtle nod across the table, eyes twinkling with "this is going to be a show." My parents arrived last. My mom was beaming like she'd already decided the night was a triumph. Dad looked stiff, his collar too tight. He nodded at me. No smile. No greeting. I didn't care. Dinner started. Appetizers were served. People gossiped about real estate and promotions and Cassie's husband Paul's latest corporate climb. And then, of course, the toasts began. Uncle Roger led the charge with a semi-slurred monologue about matriarchs and blessed bloodlines. Cassie followed. "Mom, you're the glue that keeps us together. We love you." Everyone raised their glasses. Then it was my turn. I stood slowly. Glass in one hand, the envelope in the other. "Mom," I began, "you've definitely been a presence in my life." A few people laughed nervously. I remember a lot of moments growing up. Some good. Some less good. But they all shaped who I am today. So, in that sense, I should thank you. The table got quiet. This past year, I've learned a lot about myself. About value. About what it means to choose peace. And sometimes the best gift you can give someone isn't what they want. It's what they need. I placed the envelope on the table in front of her. She blinked. "What is this?" "Open it," I said. She did. And froze. Inside, the deed transfer. Proof of sale. Foundation documents. LLC ownership. And the letter, "You have 30 days to vacate." I turned to the rest of the table. My parents sold their house 6 weeks ago in a panic. They were facing foreclosure. I bought it. Quietly. Legally. And I've turned it into something they never expected, a non-profit foundation that helps people like me. People who were underestimated. Dismissed. Called parasites. The silence was tidal. Then Dad stood up, face red. "You're proud of this? Humiliating us?" "No," I said calmly. "I'm proud I finally stopped waiting for your approval to matter." Mom was trembling. You're kicking us out?" "I'm helping you land somewhere sustainable. I've even arranged movers and found you an affordable rental. But yes. The house is no longer yours." Kevin exploded. "You're sick. This is your mother's birthday." "Exactly," I said. "A perfect time for rebirth." Cassie looked like she wanted to disappear into the tablecloth. Paul just kept blinking. "Adam?" He was sipping water like it was a movie premiere. I ended the toast with one line. "The foundation opens March 15th, same day you move out." Felt like good symmetry. And then I sat down. Want to see what happened after? You know what to do. 3 days after the incubator opened, I got a handwritten letter. Not an email. Not a voicemail. A real letter, in shaky cursive, forwarded to the Foundation's P.O. box. It was from my mom. "Damon, I don't expect forgiveness. I'm writing because I saw the article. The one about the house. And I need you to know, we were wrong. I was wrong. About you. About what success looks like. About what it means to be a family. I see that now. I'm sorry. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just sat in my office, the one with the view over the driveway I used to shovel as a teenager while Kevin got hot cocoa, and let the silence settle like dust. Later that afternoon, Jordan knocked on my door. "Hey," he said, holding a laptop, eyes lit up. "We hit 10,000 downloads. The budgeting app, it's trending in the financial literacy category." I smiled. "That's huge." He shrugged like it wasn't a big deal, but it was. He knew it. I knew it. "You ever think," he said, "about what your parents would say if they saw this now?" I leaned back in my chair. "They saw. They just chose not to understand." He nodded. "Still. Must feel good." "It does. Not because they finally see it. But because I don't need them to anymore." That night, I drove past the house. Not to check on anything. Just because. The porch light was on. Adam had set up motion sensors and a custom-built alarm system. The 6 residents inside were working late, their lights still glowing behind the curtains. I parked across the street, sat in the quiet, and remembered. Remembered being 19 and living out of a friend's basement after dropping out of college. Remembered Kevin's voice in my head, "You'll come crawling back." I never did. Instead, I built something they couldn't tear down. Something real. My phone buzzed. "Cassie. Mom's in the hospital. Just a checkup, nothing serious. But she asked if you'd come. Just to sit. She keeps asking." I stared at it for a full minute. Then I called Adam. "She's asking for me." He paused. "You gonna go?" "I don't know," I said. "Would that be weakness?" "No," he said. "It would be grace." So I went. The hospital room was quiet. She looked smaller than I remembered. Time has a way of deflating even the sharpest people. "Damon," she whispered. "You didn't have to come." "I know." She started to cry. Not the performative kind. The quiet kind. The kind that doesn't ask for anything back. "I was so proud of you," she said. "But I didn't know how to show it without feeling small." I pulled up a chair. "Then let this be the start of something small. Something honest." We sat in silence. This time, it didn't hurt. A week later, she and Dad moved into their rental. The movers I hired sent me photos. They didn't know who I was. And that was the win. Not control. Not revenge. But peace. Quiet. Room to breathe. The house, my house, is full of builders now. And I'm finally one of them.